You were extremely violated, but will be publicly vindicated. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder. For my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family, you were extremely violated, but will be publicly vindicated. I need somebody to drop in the comments and say my name will be clear. Yes, sir. Make sure you drop in the comments, family, and say my name will be clear. I need y'all to understand something. What happens is they see that you have this good image. They see that you have this good character, and they see how everybody else look at you. And so what they do is go on a smear campaign. Yeah, they go on this smear campaign. And it's just like how a president go on a campaign, the mayor, the Senate, House of Representatives, whatever, y'all. Just like a politician go on a campaign, every city represents a person for your enemies. Let me say that once again, y'all. Every city represents a person for your enemies or your haters, right? Or those who are your opposition. And what that means is, y'all, is that every person they meet, every person they talk to, every person they visit, it's almost like they have to spread some type of false narrative to them, some type of false allegation, some type of opinion that's not true, but it would sound true to a person who don't even know you. Right? And so what happens is, y'all, they hide the fact that they violated you, whether that was with infidelity, adultery, disrespect, abuse, right? Or just simply being jealous of you. They're the ones who violated you, but they hide it. And so it makes them look good momentarily until you get your vindication. You know, y'all, a great example of this would be a regular citizen who get pulled over by the police, right? State patrol, sheriff, however you want to name it. But whenever they get pulled over, they pull out their cell phone and say, look at him or look at her. They trying to do this to me or say this to me. Y'all know how people make big scenes. I'm not saying that the times that it has happened in the past, it was not needed, because people have lost their lives. People have been profiled racially. People have been through a lot, right? But assuming that they was doing 85 and a 75, right? Yeah, they were doing 85 and a 75, and they're the ones who violated, which means they were in the wrong. And they're trying to create this narrative, and people going to run with it because of what's been going on. And so it makes them look like they are the good guys or the good people or the good person, right? However, y'all, the policeman is just doing their job. Okay, now we all know that you can do 5 miles over the speed limit, especially in Georgia. I don't know about Chicago, New York, Louisiana, anywhere else in the world. I just know about Georgia. And so what happens is, y'all, is that they run with this narrative that they did this to me. They profiled me. Whole time you was wrong. When they take it to court or when the actual video come out and the footage of what they did wrong, it shows that they were the ones who violated, and who gets vindicated? The policeman. Now, the point is, y'all, is that is exactly how it works with yourself. You may lose that battle. Yeah. You may be looked at as the bad person. Absolutely. You may be looked at as the troublemaker for the meantime. But allow them to win that battle so you can win the war. Somebody drop that down below in the comments. I will win the war. Okay? And so with that being said, y'all, understand something. You were extremely violated, but you will be publicly vindicated. All right? But with that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get directly into this video. Y'all know me. I will do a long intro, but I believe that sometimes, y'all, is needed. All right? But anyway, I'm sending nothing but love, peace, and prosperity to the family. I hope y'all are having a great day, because your boy is having a delightful one. All right. Jiu-Jitsu week, y'all. So after I get done with these videos, that's where I'm going to be headed to. Y'all drop in the comments and let me know how y'all day's looking. Okay. But be sure, y'all, to leave a thumbs up on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel. Yes, sir. Not only that, y'all, but y'all be sure to ring my bell so you can be notified after every single video I post, or to receive every single video I post. I ain't cutting that out, y'all. It is what it is. But anyway, y'all, let's get right into it. And of course, y'all, we are in the famous living room right here in front of the legendary gray couch. Anytime I'm in front of the legendary gray couch, y'all, something legendary will be said. And that's just how that go, y'all. Let's get right into it. This is how you will be vindicated. All right, this is how. Number one, y'all, you will be promoted in front of your enemies. Yep, let me say it again for my chosen ones in the back. You will be promoted in front of your enemies, all right? Everybody who laughed at you, everybody who thought that you were not qualified, all right? And let's speak about that for a second, y'all. See, God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the called, right? And so people think that you got to be qualified, you got to be smart, you got to have a bachelor's, you got to have a master's. Some of the most wealthiest people in the world do not have education. Sorry about that. They just learned how to make money, and now they have attained and accumulated all that they ever dreamed of. You know, I was listening to Jim Rome actually today, y'all, and he said many people make a living and very few people create a life. Yeah. Many people make a living, but very few create a life. And so with that being said, y'all, just because you don't have what society says, you know, that makes you smart or makes you educated or makes you qualified, does not mean that you don't possess the tools to design your own life, to design what you always wanted. Okay. And see, understand this right here, y'all. That is a way of you being promoted in front of your enemies. There's a lot of people who laughed. There's a lot of people who said that you couldn't do it. There's a lot of people who tried to spot out the things that you did wrong or your mistakes as if they didn't have the same issues, right? A great example of this, y'all, would be hate on the job. Yep. Old-fashioned hate on the job. You come to the job, you a great customer service worker. You do good in that truck stacking them boxes. You mind your business. You're very smart. You are actually able to take the manager and supervisor job. If you want to be honest, y'all, okay? You are able to capitalize, and I'm not talking about monetarily, but capitalize in terms of doing the greatest job possible and getting in that spotlight. Most people cannot do that. Most people go to the job and work, and that's it. But yourself, you're able to work, and you just naturally shine. You naturally shine. And so you got other people who's trying to talk about you. You got other people who's spreading these false allegations. Other people saying, well, he ain't really that good. She ain't really that good, right? They're trying to persuade other people to not like you, all right, just because you are you. Somebody drop in the comments and say it won't work. But understand this right here, y'all. When you get promoted in front of your enemies on their job, that's vindication, right? When you went from regular employee to shift lead, and then you went from shift lead to, you know, supervisor, from supervisor to manager, now you sitting in the office. I mean, I've seen it, y'all. That is vindication. Everybody's saying he ain't qualified. She ain't qualified. He ain't smart. She ain't smart. They deserve to have this type of job. They deserve to be in this particular part of the building, whatever the case is. But what I'm saying is, y'all, you getting promoted in front of your enemy speaks volumes. All right? It speaks volumes. And so it was a podcast called the Joe Budden podcast, and it was like very similar to what I'm saying, hate on the job. I don't really got to get into it. Y'all can do the Googles or search it up on YouTube, but I'm just saying it's very similar, y'all. Hate on the job. One person is mad because this person bring more value than the other people, and the other people are like, no, they don't bring more value, and, you know, just trying to speak to the boss, which is Joe Budden, saying that he's not this good or he's not that good or whatever the case is to make themselves look better so they can ultimately make more money. But the point is, y'all, is that people will hate on the job. They will hate in life. But whenever they see you get promoted in front of your enemies, and some of those enemies are actually them who we talking about, that is the most beautiful vindication that you could ever see, y'all. Guaranteed. And that you can actually feel. Number 2 is going to be this right here, family. Restoring your reputation. Yes, sir. Let me say it louder for my chosen ones in the back. Listen, family, restoring your reputation, all right? Don't worry about how they look at you right now. You can't control what they're saying about you right now. All you can do is continue where you left off at. And that was being a good person. You had good character. You had a good heart. You was doing good work. You was operating in your gift. I mean, whatever you was doing, keep doing that, because at some point it's going to be revealed, right? One of my favorite movies, y'all, is Money Talks. Y'all know, if y'all know, but Money Talks is one of my favorite movies. It got Chris Tucker, Charlie Sheen. It's a few people in there, y'all. But anyway, what happened was is that Chris Tucker was he was like a crook, right? He was selling tickets illegally. He owed people money, but one thing he didn't do was kill anybody. Okay. However, Charlie Sheen got mad within the movie because he wouldn't do his news reporting thing, and so what he did was he got him locked up because, hey, you running an illegal business at the car wash and you ain't do something for me. So get what? I'm finna bon voyage, my guy. Bon voyage. And so he ended up getting locked up and he ended up getting connected to the wrong people in jail. And there happened to be these Russians or some other type of race people. But long story short, they were serious people. And so he ended up getting information on them. And once they broke out of jail, he was ironically his cellie, and he broke out of jail, and the person was wanted for murder. Guess what? Since they're wanted for murder, he's wanted for murder because they broke out. You out with them. We assume that you on the same thing that they're on. Long story short, that was not the case, and so he had to call the same reporter, which was Charlie Sheen, to get him out the trouble that Charlie Sheen pretty much put him in. And so what happened was, y'all, is at the end of the movie, he finally got his name cleared, all right? He finally got his name cleared, but he had to go through getting shot at. He had to go through policemen trying to take him into custody. He had to go through people trying to take his money. He had to go through a whole bunch of BS, all right, to get vindicated. How many times do you have to go through a lot of BS? How many times do you have to go through things that you really shouldn't even be going through, right? Not realizing that it's really making you stronger. How many times have you had to go through things that you felt was unnecessary, right? But at the end, don't your name always get cleared? And don't you always realize, now I see why I went through this. It was uncomfortable, but eventually I was able to get back comfortable. And that was the whole moral of Money Talks, right? Sometimes, y'all, you have to go through certain things in order to understand the meaning later, right? And so one thing that happened was he got his reputation restored, all right? And that's the same thing with yourself. Your reputation will be restored. Don't worry about what it looked like, all right? Number 3 is going to be this right here, family. Causing what was meant for evil to become good. Yeah, causing what was meant for evil to become good. You know, y'all, if you think of a person riding on the interstate, right? A person riding on the interstate, and let's just say they minding their business, they're trying to get to their destination, but you got a car that's being vile, heinous, evil, and trying to, push them off by bumping their car. Well, you may think that they're going to kill this person that's in the car. What if they're actually helping them? Not knowing, but they actually are helping them. Guess what? Let's just say a semi-truck is about to hit that car that they are trying to push off the road or push off the interstate, and traffic is ahead. Well, guess what? If they push that car off, not only did the car miss that semi-truck, but he also missed traffic, right? He also missed traffic. And that's how things operate in life. People try to be mean all the time. People try to be vile. They try to prove points. They try to, hurt you. But they don't realize that what was meant for evil is actually going to work out for your good. It happens all the time, on the job, in the family, within your business, on social media, right? Y'all remember the dude who came out with the thing? Well, he didn't come out with it. It just kind of branded itself, but he was like, I ain't fresh. And it was because those young girls were saying, you ain't fresh, you basically lame. You ain't fresh, you lame. You ain't fresh, you ugly, right? And that's basically what they were saying. And he was like, I ain't fresh. But guess what? It was so many people who came to that man rescue. It was so many people who made content, saying how he was fresh. So many brand deals. He became an internet sensation, all because somebody was being mean, vile, evil, okay, and just trying to be hurtful. It worked out for his good. That's the same thing with yourself, y'all. What was caused for your evil or caused for evil actually worked out for your good. Understand that. Number 4 is going to be this right here, family. Justifying your cause. Justifying your cause. See, a lot of times people like to tell the story, but they don't tell the story in favor of both sides, in favor of both parties. No, they don't want to tell the story for what it really was and what it actually was, okay? They don't want to tell how they triggered you. They don't want to tell what would make them look bad, right? They only tell what you did, but don't nobody speak about the why, right? And so I hate to use this example, y'all, but I have to make my point. But let's just say a person is in court because of self-defense, right? Whether that was because they had to protect their family by killing a person, or if that was them breaking somebody's arm or breaking a leg, whatever the case was, but it was self-defense. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that for self-defense, I believe you still have to do time for self-defense. You may get off with like 1 year or maybe 2 years, but you still got to do time. But even on top of doing time, you still have to be taken into custody. You got to go on trial and everything. So in the meantime, while this person is laying down dead, or while this person got a broken arm or whatever it is, you are looking like the bad person, right? You're looking like the person who harmed somebody for no reason. You're looking like the person who just hauled off and wanted to use your martial arts. Yeah, you thought you was it, man. Yeah, you was watching too much TV. You look like the person who was the troublemaker, right? However, y'all, what happens is that when the time comes, part of your vindication is going to be the right officials, the right people, or even God, y'all, justifying your cause. The reason why he had to take the life of this person was because that person was going to take his life and his family's life. The reason why he had to break this person's arm was because this person was threatening him with a knife or a machete. The cause was justified. It doesn't mean that you were right in the spiritual realm, but in this thing that we call life, we have to operate by laws. And if a person is willing to harm you and your family, it's called self-defense. Okay, it's called self-defense. And so, that's a whole nother video, but we're just gonna stick to what it means, just regular, right? And what I'm saying is that you gotta protect yourself at all times. And sometimes, y'all, it's not going to be understood why you did it at that particular time until the cause is justified. That makes sense, y'all? Drop in the comments and let me know. Not trying to get super spiritual in this particular video, because at the end of the day, if you're a preacher, if you are an evangelist, if you are a regular person or a worldly person, nobody wants to get harmed or allow their family to be harmed. So you got to protect yourself, all right? But anyway, number 5 is going to be this right here, y'all, public defense. Yep, public defense, y'all. So y'all remember the movie Daddy's Little Girls? When, I think his name was Monty or Munt, when he had those girls. And the baby mama was trash. She was, speaking bad on their daddy name, allowing the stepdaddy to beat on the little girls and all that, y'all. But the man was dragged down through the dirt. I'm talking about Munchie, the actual father, because of his past, right? And because he was broke, he didn't have money, he didn't have resources. So a lot of times he was looked over, right? But it was that last scene that was so powerful to me. And it was the song that had Sam Cooke in it, right? Or not had Sam Cooke in it. It was Sam Cooke's song, I Was Born by the River. And man, that scene was so powerful because he had enough. He didn't care about what the state said. He didn't care about what Gabrielle Union was going to say. He did not care. That man just straight up said, man, I'm finna protect my daughters. He took his car. He ran directly into the man's car. And The whole city stood behind that man because they knew what he had been going through. All right. Listen, y'all. That's what I mean by public defense. That's what I mean by public defense. See, when people are defending you publicly, that's because they don't mind either going up with you or going down with you because you are worth it. Okay? See, in the movie Daddy's Little Girls, y'all, he had been talked about, slandered. You know, they had brought up his past in court, and the man was a good man. However, he just didn't have the finances and the resources and the status to back it up. So guess what they did? They pretty much dragged him through the dirt, no matter what his daughters was going through. But that last scene, he said, I had enough. And the city stood behind him. They stood behind him, right? But with that being said, y'all, we'll do a quick recap. But understand this, you were extremely violated, all right? But will be publicly vindicated. Number one, y'all, this is how. You will be promoted in front of your enemies. Number two, restoring your reputation. Number three, causing what was meant for evil to become good. Number four, justifying your cause. And number five, y'all, public defense. All right. But with that being said, family, I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Y'all make sure y'all go over to the Rich Mentality Academy, join the membership, go meet your tribe. Be sure to book a one-on-one session with your boy. You can check out any one of my books. And of course, be sure to get you a Yes Sir t-shirt. But I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Keep a rich mentality. Peace.